Petcherabo sighed and returned his attention to the clockwork model of the Warhound.
You are never so certain as when you don't know just how wrong you can be,
he said, picking up his tools and working on the machine's interior once again.
Is it broken?
Asked Fulgrim.
The perpetual motion driver at its heart is losing time,
said Petcherabo.
I thought that was impossible.
On the contrary, said Petcherabo, tightening a screw no larger than a grain of sand. A genius of old Earth discovered the theoretical principles thousands of years ago, but he was lacking the technology to manufacture a working prototype. I have many of his old journals and secret papers in my library and was able to extrapolate what had been lost to draw up schematics for Vulcan to build. Fulgrim nodded, already bored.
I would have thought Vulcan would have better things to do with his forges, like making guns and swords.
Then you don't know him at all, said Petcherabo. His love of the forge encompasses all things, from crafting weapons to fashioning miniature wonders of artifice.
But that one isn't working,
asked Fulgrim.
And he's not as good as I heard.
No, it was perfect,
said Petcherabo. It was damaged during the fight at Fall. It fell from the shelf and the mechanism was knocked out of alignment. If you listen closely, you can hear the variation each cycle of its mechanical heart. Petcherabo reached out and placed the Warhound on the workbench in front of Fulgrim.
I have no interest in your toys,
he said.
Listen,
insisted Petcherabo. Fulgrim sighed and leaned in close to the table, turning his head to listen. Petcherabo's hand flashed out and gripped Fulgrim's hair. With sudden force, he slammed his brother's face into the Warhound. The wondrous automaton shattered into thousands of pieces as Fulgrim's head crunched into the pitted surface of the workbench.
Ah!
Bone broken and blood splattered. Cogs flew, tiny springs and gear levers spun off. Fulgrim cried out in a painful shock, and his captain surged forward. The iron circle smashed them aside with wrecking ball blows from their energy shields, and before the Emperor's children could recover, the Trident were upon them. Petcherabo holed Fulgrim over the workbench, scattering drawings, fragile tools, schematics, and half-finished sketches. Though Fulgrim was fully armored, Petcherabo lifted him by the neck with no more effort than lifting a mortal man. Fulgrim spat blood, and Petcherabo slammed his fist into his brother's face, snapping his head back with a crack of bone. Fulgrim's eyes blazed black, and his face glimmered with reptilian malice. He started to speak, but Petcherabo didn't give him the chance. Like a fist fighter going in for the kill, he battered his brother's face with pistoning jabs until he had backed up against an iron column. He had pinned Fulgrim in place and drew back his free hand to reach for Forge Breaker. The hammer rose, but Petcherabo left the blow hanging. Fulgrim's face was a wet meat wound, leaking blood, snot, and tears. His breath was hoarse and clogged with phlegm and broken teeth. His eyes were swollen shut. He tried to speak, but Petcherabo cut him off again.
No, brother, he said. I am speaking now, and you will listen to me.
Fulk, Krollinger, and Forex hauled Fulgrim's captive officers over. Powerful arms wrapped around their necks and wide-bore pistols jammed in hard to their flesh.
I have bitten my tongue and allowed you to bring my legion into this place, said Petcherabo. I have followed your lead in all things. I have listened to your tall tales and allowed you to set the pace of this expedition.
Petcherabo leaned forward
and said, that ends now.
He released Fulgrim, who held himself erect in the face of Petcherabo's cold anger.
Your warriors have no discipline. Monsters fight your battles and you have allowed an entire vessel to be sacrificed in the name of vanity. But no more. From here onwards, I am in charge, and for the duration of this mission, your legion is mine to command. Your warriors will obey my orders, and they will follow my lead, and they will do nothing except by my command. If you agree to that, then we will continue on into the Eye of Terror and finish this together. If you don't, then I will take my legion and leave you here. Do you understand?
Fulgrim nodded and swallowed a mouthful of blood.
I understand, brother.
He said, his voice a gargled, mangled mockery of its once perfect Candace.
I understand that you humble me and expect me to swallow my pride to be your lapdog.
I don't need a damn lapdog, snarled Petcherabo. I need an equal.
But I am not your equal, brother.
Said Fulgrim, grinning through his bloodied features, as though this outburst of violence was somehow amusing.
I surpass you in every way.
Yet I'm the one holding the hammer,
said Petcherabo.
You say you want an equal, but where is the equality when you secure my ascent at the end of a weapon?
Petcherabo lowered Forgebreaker.